Alright, so we're taking a look at some of the projects that we've made with this Ender 3 and the Ender 5, and talk about some of the experiences and some of the modifications we've made and issues and troubleshooting along the way. Alright, who remembers this clip from the movie Runaway in 1984? When this happened, it was pretty cool. 50 BMGs were not necessarily commonplace at all, so that was a pretty big bullet or piece of ordnance for us. And when he started to chop into it with this cold air and then do this and break it open, that was pretty cool. Computers were sort of new, so we didn't know nothing. And we figured everything was getting smaller. Why not have a heat-seeking bullet, right? So, all these years later, I'm looking at 3D print files out there, and I could not find one for the heat-seeking missile. So the first thing I did was take it into Adobe Illustrator and make this vector image of what I could come up with of both sides. Then took it into Fusion 360, and after a while came up with a version of it in a three-dimensional version. Here those are all rendered into different materials and colors. This is a quick version of some of the creation of it. It ended up taking quite a few days. There's about 3 iterations of the project, which were all part of the learning process, learning the software, and then learning the process of getting an effective part, not just made in the software, but then bringing that to life, seeing how it interacts with the printer, what the printer's abilities are. So it was a pretty decent project in the for all the different aspects, I guess, of what I could practice here. So the first version was an effort to bring the SVG of one of the vector versions of the file, the drawing, into the three-dimensional software, and then pull these blue regions, or from the SVG file, pull these blue regions into three-dimensional space, or rotate the portions of the image from that SVG file or sketch, rotate them around an axis and create the barrel shape of the cartridge, or some of these internal coil shapes that look like a coil's been cut in half. So it's an interesting effort to conceptualize all the different 3D parts fitting together as they might in real life if it was really a heat-seeking missile. It's an effort to make it in a way that the printer will work. Do I flip this thing over and print it on the flat side? Or do we flip it over and print it with the flat side up so that the printer has the best potential for getting nice looking top finish of all these different internal components? Is it going to be painted? Would it be printed in multiple colors and then snapped together like a snap together model? So there's a lot of different elements that take place as you're going through the software there, and again, a lot of learning opportunity here. So the first model I'm going to call the skeletonized version. When I was looking at the clip from the movie and the images, I figure the fuel cell would have been some sort of powder or jelly or some sort of solid that was frozen by the cutting device, and that's why it was in 2 halves. That being the case, I figured it would pour out once it was at room temperature, and what you might see is a cavity left behind, and that's why I call this one the skeletonized version. I also didn't really interpret the front, I guess it would be the explosive charge, very well in this first version, because it was basically just void there, empty space. I considered this first one to be something that I might fill with a poured in resin or something. But either way, it didn't look true to the movie. So then I went through and spent some more time, basically started from scratch or almost from scratch, and went through, and with this second version that we just looked at is a more true to life copy of the movie prop. So, in other words, the propellant and the explosive are present. They're not just hollow cavities for those, for some other process. And again, it was effort to, or it was a project, exercise in learning the software and how to have something in mind and how to get that from the software. So anyway, this was, I'm not sure what number project it is. I'll probably figure it out before we post it, but I would call this an effort in learning the software, learning the end result, what you get from these creations. And in a future video, what we'll do, our subsequent video, follow-up video, we will take a look at some of the parts themselves. In this one, we're just kind of introducing these, and then we'll also be posting this online as a SVG file, and we'll have some videos about that process. So this is, I guess you could say, the introduction of this project, or the initial stages of this project, certainly the fun parts, and having the final result rendered with skins and all the different materials certainly is fun to play with. So with that, we will wrap this video up. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments wherever you happen to find the video. And in future videos or future opportunities, we'll go live and have conversations about the software, the techniques, and the tools and skills used to work on these. All right, let us know what you think. Till next time, as always, thanks for watching.